What's up? This is Shayna, and my comic book that I produced is called Haymer University. It's about a girl that goes off to a fictional HBCU, and my story is basically about Sade and how she kind of gets into a bunch of stuff in college. And I would love for y'all to see that I produced. It's called Haymer University. It's about a girl named Sade who goes off to my fictional HBCU called Haymer University. And there she meets her roommates and different classmates, and you get to see all the activities and the different things that they get into. Creates like their college experience, the homecoming, you get to see them in class, and just how their experience will be for their college life. Check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. My handle is or 9 Acre Vibes, and it's the number 9 Acre ACREV.I.BES. 9 Acre Vibes.
I'm hitting everybody in existence. Came to get it all. You see the writing on the wall. If I'm Naruto in the water, then I'm Sasuke before the fall. Luffy after the hockey. I'm Zoro drinking the sake. Try to fight me, I get Brocky like we Spiros and Brawley. You gonna need the HMs, the TM.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of BLERDKAST. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about creating a legacy and how to do that. And I'm joined by my very special guest because, as always, all my guests are special, Miss Shayna Jones. How are you doing today?
Doing really well. How are you?
I am good. It is Monday, and it's the weekend for me, but for everybody else, it's the work week. So it's good that I get to sit back and watch everybody start their work week while I'm just winding down for mine. So yeah, perfect.
Mondays are my Sundays, so I
perfect. So you understand, so you get it.
I get it. I get you.
Okay, but we are here to talk about your first comic. Is this your first comic you've ever done? Cool. We're here to talk about Haymer University. We're here to talk about the story and just kind of get not a spoiler, like a full spoilers, because I want people to like be interested in the book, but we'll give a spoiler light to just kind of
just a little sprinkle.
Yeah, a little sprinkle just to get you interested into the story. Haymer University. I read it. I read the first issue. It was really, 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 really interesting. So I got a lot of questions that I want to dive into. But before we get started with the interview, the Blerd Nation is demanding you answer this burning question that is on their hearts and minds and souls. It's very important. What are you currently geeking out to?
So I just started getting into a lot of like anime and stuff like that. I would say what I'm watching now, it's kind of old. I watch Castlevania. I'm trying to understand that storyline and get into that. So I would say that's what I would be geeking out to recently is like Castlevania. That's my thing.
Okay. So just Castlevania, you're not reading anything or playing any video games or
you know what's crazy? Adulthood. It's adulthood. I haven't played video games in so long. And I honestly I read to learn. I don't read for entertainment. I watch things for entertainment because like when I read things, my mind just goes like somewhere else. I don't even have the attention span to read for entertainment. So right. I would get my entertainment in that sense from like watching series. That's my introduction. I'm looking for more things. Like people been like giving me different things that I should watch. I'm open to watching a lot of things. I want to see what interests me and stuff like that.
Okay, well, so you said you are watching anime. What are some of the other animes you're watching, and what type of animes interest you?
Okay, so Castlevania is one. I know what I don't like. So I actually didn't watch anime growing up because I'm not a dramatic person. I don't like all the extra drama and stuff like that. So it kind of like all the extra noises and sound effects, it used to bother me. I'd be like, please just get to the point. Like, I don't care about all the extra stuff. Like, why is your face shaking and calm down, relax. It's not that deep. So because of that, I always was like, I don't feel like watching it. But I did find Castlevania. I like the storyline, and it doesn't do all that extra like shaking and loud extra. It don't do all of that. And then I found this one. It was on Netflix, and I always forget the name of it, but it's basically like these three people. One of the characters had gotten eaten by a dragon, and it's at the bottom of the dunes or whatever it is. And then there's this knight that's like he knows the girl, and then it's a girl that has like powers, and then it's a boy that they be with, and then they found this chef, and they go down into I think it's like the catacomb. It's something. They go down somewhere, and they're fighting off all these like creatures, but it'll be like a mushroom. Like they're eating the creatures and stuff as they go down. So like it'll be some type of mushroom monster, and then they kill the monster, and then make it like the chef make a mushroom soup out of it, and then they go down to another layer, and then they kill something else, and then they make food out of it. I think it just talks to the big back in me because I love food. So it's just an anime about them trying to go get the girl that just got swallowed by the dragon, and then they eat food after it. So, and I
Okay.
can't remember the name of it. OMG, it's on Netflix though.
Yeah, it sounds so familiar. I think
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about because there's a trailer. They're just eating like mushroom monsters or something.
yeah, like
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So I know what you're talking about. I just don't know the name of it. But if you like food-based anime, I suggest Food Wars on
Food
Hulu.
Wars.
Food Wars is it's a really good. It's like food porn and anime put together. It's fantastic. And you like big back stuff, so that's the perfect thing
Man,
for you.
I'm telling you, in my former life, I must have been. I had to. There's no way I love food this much.
Right. But let's get to know you a little bit more. You said something interesting that you didn't quite watch anime growing up because of the loud noises and things like that, or you're not so dramatic. So
Mm,
did you consider yourself like kind of geeky growing up, kind of nerdy? Because like obviously you grew up and got interested into this culture because you're making comics. You don't just
mhm.
start making comics because you're not into comics.
Right, right, right. So I did read like comics here and there when I was younger. I read a lot of the Archie comics. I read the Boondocks comic strip when it was in the newspapers.
I remember
So
those.
that was the most that I used to read comic wise. As growing up, I would just watch a lot of cartoons. Like SpongeBob hands down was like everything. I had SpongeBob clothes, SpongeBob uh sheets. My walls on my room was bikini bottom blue, like SpongeBob down. Like that was my thing. And then like other cartoons I would watch. I don't necessarily know if I ever felt like I was in like the blurred community. Like I don't know. I just always felt like a loner to a lot of different things. Like I wasn't in the popular group, I wasn't in the nerd group, I wasn't in the athletic like technically. Like I feel like I was athletic. I did nerdy stuff, and I hung around I hung around a lot of people. A lot of people knew me, but I never felt like I actually was in that group. I always felt like I was an ally to a lot of a lot of different groups.
Hmm.
And I just did things like I used to play Crash Bandicoot, Tekken, Call of Duty, Sims. I love the Sims. So I just did things. I never really labeled myself. I just did a bunch of different stuff. And whoever likes it, hey, I'm your friend. In a sense.
Now that you are older in an adulthood and more experience, has your opinion kind of changed, or you still kind of consider yourself more of an ally to a lot of different groups?
I feel like I'm still an ally, but like no, I kind of feel like I have a foot in because it's kind of like a lot of the things that I did do, or I feel comfortable in blurred spaces or like geeky spaces or nerd spaces. That's where I am comfortable at, but I just don't have like the knowledge of like different animes or like different things. But I enjoy. Oh yeah, I forgot. Even when I was younger, I was really into Pokemon. That was my before SpongeBob came out. I was like a Pokemon head, so I had all
Well,
the posters and the
to be fair, you're a fellow millennial. Pokemon hunted all of us.
everybody. Yeah,
Had
everybody.
everybody. I have cousins who were gang banging and still gang bang in their
Oh,
old
shit.
millennial ages, who still go out and play Pokemon whenever they come out with a new generation. So
Yeah.
Pokemon just had our generation in the vice
And a
grip.
chokehold. Yeah. No, I was a part of that thing too. But I don't. That's a good question. That's crazy. Yeah, I do still feel like I would. Yeah, I would say a closer ally though, like a more in tuned ally than just the outskirts.
Well, I have some bad news for you. I don't know how old you are, but today you was about to find out. You is so deep in the black nerd community.
All
You
right, cool. I'm with
you in
it.
the closet peeking out, and you just don't know. But you were blurred. Like, come on, you made a comic book. Kind of don't get any nerdy than that. And about an HBCU of all things, that's like you literally took the concept of blurred and was like, "Yep, I'm gonna make an HBCU comic book." And like, it's so perfect. It fits the description. You are a blurred. You've been a blurred your whole life. Um, I'm sorry I had to break the news to you today, but
Sorry, it's crazy. No, I'm gonna take it. I'll take it. That's fine.
welcome. We have punch and pie on Tuesdays. It's fun. Like when we get together, it's always fun.
And that is serious. I do believe that statement. It is fun anytime I go into like some type of blurred event or something like that. I'm not worried about. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about people. I'm not worried about everybody's happy. They just happy to be there in costumes. I'm very into like fashion and how things look, how people put together these costumes and like the passion that they put behind it. I love it. I feel like
I'm
the
like,
blurred community is some of the most creative people I've ever just looking at them. I don't even talk. I'd be shy. I'd be in the background and stuff like that. So just being able to see people in their element is very rewarding, and I love it. I love I should have been did it. I should have been like going to conventions and stuff like that. I ain't know. I ain't know.
so I've been doing this con scene for like almost 20 years. Oh my god.
Oh wow,
When I first started
you're a
doing the
pro.
cons, people would be dressed up in cosplay and it was like cool, okay, they're characters. But then when black people in Atlanta started doing more cosplay
Mm.
and being creative with it, being black with it, like bringing the ancestry into it and bringing the creativity and just the like again, we're millennials. We grew up in that era where it wasn't okay to be into nerdy stuff and be black. So like
Mm.
once that line was crossed and annihilated, cosplay became this whole other thing.
Right.
And now I'm a cosplay photographer because of it. So fascinating when black people get a hold of something and we put some seasoning onto it and we just make it better. It's just so weird
We
how
have
it
a habit. We have a habit.
comes out better. But since you talk about going to blurred spaces, what blurred spaces do you normally go to? I'm like, do you go to cons? Do you go to like just blurry hangouts? Like, what blurred spaces attract you the most?
BLERDCon, I've been shout out to BLERDCon, shout out to Blur Station and everybody that I went there with, and Blurred's Eye View and everybody. And I loved the convention scene with them. Um, I went to and it's crazy because I went to my first two conventions within the last 2 years. And I went to BLERDCon and I also went to like Comic Con in New York. I loved both. I liked Comic Con, but I don't know why. I just felt at home at BlurredCon. Like it just felt like if because and no shade in the sense of like small, but it felt more of like a family. Like it felt more close knit. Like people people at this booth, that somebody at that booth. Like it felt like a family environment, and I love that. I would say conventions is my introduction. I haven't been to too many other like spaces like that. And then within, doing my comic book, I've actually gained some friends and just hanging out with people of that kind of like environment. It's just different than what I'm used to. So that just like we went to the movies, we was hanging out, but what we went to watch, it was like an experience. And then like I don't know, it's just I feel like I am introduced to different things just because of the space that I'm in, and I'm really appreciative of that. And I'm really interested in like going to more conventions and different spaces. Like you just I didn't even think of like other things besides conventions. Like it's a whole new world, and I feel like I'm so happy that I'm in the beginning stages and I can like just figure out anything. Like, I feel like it's so
Actually
open.
slick kind of jealous because you get to experience all this for the first time. I'm just a vet. Like, oh, let me go and hang out with these group of people because like I swear to God, some of these younger kids, I can't do it. Like I can't do
Oh
it.
wow.
I swear to God, if I
It's
was
a generational thing. I get it. I get it.
like I used to be able to run around a con and be drunk and do all kinds of things 24 hours straight, no sleep, nothing. Now I'm like, oh my God, I need some Bengay. My back hurt. I got photo shoots. I got responsibilities at
It's
cons
the
now.
responsibilities. It's the
I never thought I would like go to like Dragon Con or MomoCon or any con that I normally would go to for fun and be like, oh, now I have responsibilities. I'm covering press. I'm doing a photo shoot. I have to, show my face to certain people, or else it's not the same kind of convention. It's
right.
weird.
But
But
see, you that might be a blessing for you because you had the before, like you had the childhood experience or the young adult experience. I feel like I'm coming in straight as like business in a sense. Like I'm there to enjoy myself and have an experience, but I do also have like a another reason that I'm here, like that I'm always aware of. So
mm,
that's good that you've experienced it on both sides of the coin.
that is a really good take because you're right. Like I've had fun at these cons.
Mm,
And I've also made some money at these cons, and I like
okay.
both. And I'm figuring out how to do both. You can't
Right.
quite do both at a con, but do I want to make money? Do I want to, have fun? I can have fun while making money. I don't know. It is what it is. But I'm just gonna say this. Well, first of all, BLERDKAST. You mentioned BLERDKAST. Shout out to BLERDKAST, Blerd Station, Blerd's Eye View. Everybody, thank them so much for letting me have an hour of their live stream. So that was pretty cool. Did you have an hour too? Or
So
live
when
stream?
I didn't go this year.
Okay,
I
okay,
went last year, and I actually was helping them. I was more behind the scenes and stuff like that. I don't think I did a segment with them. I think I was mainly there for background help. But I
okay.
don't, yeah,
Yeah, since you brought up the Blur Station thing, I did do the live stream with them this year at BlerdCon 2025. It was my first time going to BlerdCon, and oh my god, like I get it,
yeah.
because like Hilton George, that mofo right there can throw one hell of a convention. I swear to God. But for years, he'd be in Atlanta promoting his con, and he'll like, "Oh, come up to DC, come to BlerdCon." I was like, "Yeah, PTO don't grow on trees," and now it does. And I'm like, "All right, I gotta go to BlerdCon." So I went. I had I know I said no cussing, but I had a good old ass time at BlerdCon. I'm going next year, so hopefully I can see you there next year.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely want to go next year.
that convention is so unique to itself. I know you mentioned New York Comic Con, which in itself is a unique convention, but BlerdCon is unlike any other experience
Hmm.
at a convention that I have gone to, and it's because, like you said, it's like you said, going out with your friends to the movies. You back in high school again. Y'all talking about Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. Everybody know each other. I didn't know half the people up there, but then I did know half the people up there because they always in Atlanta. So,
Mm,
and then the people I didn't know, I got to meet them, and everybody I met at BlerdCon was just like, where has this been all my life?
right.
High school when I'm getting bullied and all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards are getting swept in the trash and
Mm.
people are, like all kinds of horrible things are happening. Where was this connection? Like I had it with like friends, but it was like maybe 4 or 5 of us. BlerdCon, it was thousands of us. And
Yep.
that feeling, that unity, that connection of familia and family and just blurredness and black excellence was like, oh my God, like Atlanta does not have a successful Black Nerd Con and we need one. And I used to say all the time, like, we need to take BlerdCon for Atlanta, but no, BlerdCon is so unique to that area, and I didn't even know that till I got there. BlerdCon needs to stay where it's at. It's
Yep.
very important to the Virginia, DC, Maryland area, and I don't want to take that away from them. And I had to experience that for myself to really understand why that community needs that. But Atlanta needs something like that too.
Yeah, similar. A copy paste.
No, not a copy
But
paste.
that's insightful. That's dope.
there's stuff at BLERDKAST you can't do in Atlanta, and
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna say that. If you know, you know. I said all that to say this because BLERDKAST is amazing. Not just BLERDKAST itself, but at going to these nerd conventions and finding other Black people, not even other Black people, other people of color who
Mm-hmm.
just have the same ideals that I have. Whether it's photography or camera work or cosplay, or they're just into certain video game characters or animes. I have found myself in the last 19 years at these conventions. Like just my own personality and who I am as a person. I have found myself. When I go to a con, I feel like I'm my true self. When I'm at work and doing the normal 9 to 5, I'm just some empty, soulless robot. But when I'm
Mm.
at a con, I become alive. And you get to experience that. And that's why I'm so jealous, because you get to find yourself in the happiest places on earth, being around other nerds.
And I love that. I like how you broke that down. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for rambling. This is about
No,
you though.
no, no. Just listen. This is a conversation.
Where did the idea of Haymer University come from? And how did you transition into getting comics into the first place, as far as creating them?
Technically, the idea came out of nowhere. Like I really was sitting in my car. One minute I didn't have the idea, and then the next minute I had the idea, and I was just like, okay. First, it kind of like popped into my head as like a girl in school, and I was bored, and I was thinking like, what concepts can I come up with like that I felt like is unique. And mind you, I've never seen like a different world before. I still haven't. I kind of want to look into it. I've never seen a different world. I didn't know that even I knew it existed because of like little clips I've seen of I think what Whitley and the guy with the glasses.
Yeah, Dwayne.
Yeah, I've seen clips of it my whole life, but I never knew what it truly was. I just knew they were like people in school. So in my head, I was like, what can I think of that's like original that I really don't see right now? Like, and after I thought that, the idea popped into my head about like a HBCU or a story of a girl going to a HBCU. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, I like it. For a while, it was just a thought in my head that I just like to think about, like, because naturally I'm a storyteller. I was thinking of just different stories to write or whatever. I kept playing with it in my head. And then like eventually I was like, let me just write this down, like write down what I'm thinking. And eventually after like writing it down, I was like, I think I should do something with this. Mind you, I'm summarizing it, but this took 4 years. Like I was really like procrastinating, playing, like I didn't think anything of it. And then once I started getting like more serious about it, like I want to turn it into something because my background is TV production. I originally wanted it to be an animated series. So I had started that process where I was looking for voiceover actors. I was trying to find an animator because I can't draw to save my life, or I can't draw to the extent of what I need it to be. In talking to people and looking for that, I realized that the cheapest quote that I got for an episode would have been $20,000, and that's just to lay the animation on the track. That ain't even that ain't even paying the voiceover actors or any type of like finalized editing. That's the basics was 20,000. I don't have 20,000 for for an animated, and that's just the first one. I don't have $20,000 for the first one. So I was like, okay, well, what can I do? And I do remember Boondocks. It started out as a cartoon or as a comic strip in the newspaper, and then I always remember my mother telling me Walking Dead. It started off as a comic book. A lot of these things, or a lot of these things that you see on TV, are from like different books and different comic books. Like that's how they start, and they got picked up. I don't know the middle part, but they eventually got picked up. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I could do that. Like maybe I can start it as a comic book. And the it went from 20,000 to 2,000. I was like, okay, well, that seems like a tangible bite that I can do. So then I started looking into finding different illustrators. I found this one illustrator, shout out to Wendy Art. She did all the stuff for me. We would communicate through like Instagram and stuff like that, and any corrections and stuff. And that, from the start to finish, that took about like a year. To sum it up, the idea came from me going to HBCU, and I tried to implement like my beginning story as like the main character, because I would say I'm like the quiet, I wouldn't say awkward, but just like I'm just really quiet, or I can be off to the side kind of shy person. So I wanted to put her as the main character, and you kind of like see it through her eyes, and then you get a firsthand experience of like what you get to travel with her as to what an HBCU is, because she doesn't know what it is, and then like maybe the readers don't know, and you kind of like journey through it with her. Yeah, so that was the main part, and then like it took a while for me to start. It really did. It doesn't take that long for people. It shouldn't, but me, it took 4 years.
No, I get it. I get it. Trust me, I got projects from college. I'm like, one day I'll get it.
Right?
But so just to go back, piggyback off of what you just said. First off, the whole reason why I wanted to interview you was when I came across your page and I saw, kind of some of your TikToks and what your book was about. The first thing that came to my head was this is a different world in comic book form. I'm very intrigued because I don't know if I'm sure you know this by now, the historical significance of A Different World when that was came out and airing in the late 80s, early 90s. African American rates in college admissions went up. Like they were at an all-time high within the community. And like just having that slice of life story where you're a fish out of the water and you're going to a historically Black university, and you're meeting a bunch of different characters within the first issue, from her parents and her sister to her roommate to that boy on stage, and all the different fraternities and sororities and that band. I'm pretty sure that a lot of that stuff is going to come into play. Like, it was such a comfort zone for me because I was reading it at work, and I forgot I was at work. I was just like I'm just going through. I'm like, you only sent me one issue? Oh, okay, all right. I don't have to support and get the next, because now I'm hooked. Like it's such a good, interesting hook. But you said you never intentionally intended it to kind of mirror A Different World, but it's giving a different world vibes left and right.
Got you. Okay. Well, I mean, I do appreciate that. I appreciate that people are comparing me to something that they feel like has influenced our culture. That feels really good. It's funny because one of the people, when I first started my journey and I was looking for voiceover actors, when the guy had read the script, he was like, "Yeah, this reminds me of A Different World." Da da da. And I was like, "Okay, cool. What is that?" It's like, "You don't know what trying to take my black card from me." He was like, "You don't know what A Different World is?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." Because again, I grew up in a strict household, so I didn't really watch any like live action stuff. It was just like I was able to watch cartoons. So I watched cartoons for most, and then by the time I got of age, I really didn't care to watch. I didn't know that it was important to watch or whatever. I was just I'm watching SpongeBob. I do what I want. But so it is. I do love the fact that people can see the significance in my story as much, or they can see the potential of it, and to be compared to something that was monumental for our culture. Like I love that. I really appreciate when people say that, even though I have no idea why. Like I can't readily identify any episodes. It's just like little flashes of like moments that I remember seeing. Like I think, wouldn't they get married at one point, or like he was in a dream and they was about to get married.
Yeah,
Whitley and I don't know. I just seen pieces.
had a lot going on. It's so like you can go and find any YouTuber doing editorials on the show. I definitely do recommend you go back and look at it, especially since not just myself, but everybody who's reading your comic is making that comparison, not in a bad way, but like unintentional, intentional. Like you're in good company, you're in good standing. So when people tell you that, it's definitely not a slight or anything, because like
Right.
we
But a piece of me a piece of me wants to look at it, but a piece of me doesn't. Like at least storyline lies, because I don't want to imitate. Like I don't ever want to. Maybe certain like themes, because certain social injustices, certain things that the Black community dealt with back then, we're still dealing with now. So maybe there are some pressing issues that I would love to revisit, but like I do want to keep my storyline as pure to my thoughts as I can. And I feel like if I were to, I'm afraid that if I were to watch it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I could do that too. Like I can, like I do like my naiveness of the series, so I
Oh,
can like be more
that's
authentic to myself. That's one of the main reasons why I won't look at it yet. But I am though. I have to. I feel like I have to.
Yeah, no, that's 100% a fair point to make. Keep your story as pure as possible to alleviate any misnomenclature that one might be a copy of the other, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. This is just a coincidence, and this is just again, like you said, your story. Speaking of your story, I have a sense, maybe I'm wrong, that this is partly based off some of your own personal experience.
Yeah. So, a little bit of it.
Okay.
I would say the most that it mirrors my life is just her personality. Some of the I would say, yeah, for the most part, it'll be her personality that kind of is close to me. Some of the places that she went in the future, like in my future issues, slightly have something to do with like what I've done. But I would say, if anything, a lot of the storyline is based on like, if I were in that situation, what would I do? Not
Right.
necessarily what I have done, because I can't be telling everybody all my business now. But so it's kind of like half and half and half,
Gotcha.
somewhat.
Let me ask you this. What is the one important takeaway you want readers to get from your story?
My main thing with this story is I want people to know who they are. Like know yourself. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know what you like, know what you dislike, know where you can go, know I feel like college is a really good start to finding who you are. And even if you're not in college, you still need to know who you are. You know who you are, so can't nobody tell you who you are, or can't nobody tell you what you think you like, or or what's the best life choices for you. Only you know. But you only know if you know yourself. Do put in the work to know yourself, so you don't have to like not anything to you or anything, but like, so you're not working at a job where you just feel like I'm just here collecting this check. Like, we're supposed to, in this life, we are supposed to be happy and do what we want to do with our lives. You're supposed to get up and feel like you're going to a job that you love. You're supposed to feel like you're fulfilled in your life. You're supposed to feel like you have purpose. And this, I want to implement finding yourself as much as I can. Like, yeah, I want to talk about like, what's going on, the state of the world and different things, but my core is you can't help the world unless you know who you are for yourself.
That's that's damn straight. That needs to be on a shirt somewhere.
Right? It's
Market.
gonna be I'm making sure.
But like that's so real. That is so real. That's really good. So what is your plan? Like obviously you wrote the story, started working on the illustrator and the inker and the penciler.
Mhm.
You have digital copies only, or are you like working towards?
No, I have physical copy. Like, I have a physical copy right here. This is my personal copy. I wrote like, I think this was out of my first batches that I've ever printed. This was the first book of the first batch, and I did it for myself. And I wrote like a little note just to keep myself going. And but I do have physical copies and I have digital copies.
Okay. So you're up to issue 5, or you have more than 5 currently written?
So the first volume, I have 8,
Okay.
and how I have it set up, how I want to do it is, each volume is going to be a semester. So this volume 1 is freshman year, fall semester. Volume 2 will be freshman year, spring semester. Volume
Okay.
three, sophomore year, spring, sophomore year, fall. Then how that goes.
Gotcha.
So the first one is 8 issues in the first volume, and
Okay.
then it'll go from there.
Okay. Now, so since, like you said earlier, you can't draw worth the lick, but you
Ain't draw for
write the
nothing.
story. What was that process like working, finding and working with an illustrator, seeing your words come to life in a visual format? And like you said, like getting back to concept art and opening up the first issues and like, nope, this was that's smart. I would have did that too. Like, I would definitely take the very first one off the print.
Yeah, I collect all my first things of things, and then like I even give them to my dad, so he has like a collection. But that's his stuff. But I give him a lot of my first, or I keep it for myself. It was hard. It was super, super hard trying to find somebody because having a budget, knowing that like, yeah, I love this artist, but I can't afford this artist, or like this artist is okay, but like I see something different. So trying to find that balance in the artist that you love and then that you can afford, it's like a really hard thing. I also got scammed in the process. I got scammed out of like hundreds of dollars because I found an artist and he you learn a lot. You learn a lot in the process. I learned what to look for when it pertains to like getting scammed. I learned how to create contracts. I learned how to talk to people. What is the dimensions of a comic book? People that are inkers versus people that just do pencils. There are people that just I've found a love with doing the lettering portion because I actually helped with the lettering portion of my comic book.
Okay.
But that's always who I've been to. Like when I was younger, I couldn't draw, but I used to draw bubble letters. Like I would draw a lot of words. Falling into that, it was just like easy. Overall, it was a little bit hard in the beginning trying to find somebody that is like a real good fit for me. But once I found Wendy and then we started working together and I started like seeing what I'm thinking on paper, it was kind of surreal. It was just like, oh wow, okay, this is cool. And like, you know, making sure like she conveys certain emotions like while things are happening, like a spoiler, like when they're in the car scene and like everything's chaotic, making sure everybody looks like, oh God, it just got real. Like
Right.
just like trying to because we've never actually spoke. I'm not 100% sure why. I think it's a language barrier, but I don't know. That's a whole nother story. But working with somebody that you've never spoke with and trying to communicate in the best way possible, and then still coming up with a really great comic book, I, I I was like, I could do anything. So it gave me a sense of purpose. It gave me an understanding of comic books. It makes me want to do more comic books, like besides Haymer University, just me as a writer and as a concept creator. I have other stories that I want to write, but now I'm like trying to fit it in comic book form because I found a love for this. And it was just it was hard. It was a lot. It was just it showed me a lot about myself though. That's what it did do.
Mm, that's 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 really cool. I'm sorry. I just gotta like I'm
No,
nervous.
you're cool.
That's really cool actually. Like again, I'm sorry you got scammed, but as an artist, not even as an artist, as a nerd, I learned that there's a business to being a nerd. And if you ain't up on business skills, you kind of get like left behind.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, so I've been there, done that. And then again, it's fascinating hearing like a writer's perspective of working with an artist or an artist's perspective of working with a writer, because unless you do both, it's like two different worlds. So
Mhm.
like, again, I can only imagine, like you said, you were because you thought it was a language barrier, but like you're trying to convey through text what you want the artist to create. Now, let me ask you this: once you found that artist and their art style and you started seeing concepts of your story come to life, what was that moment like for you?
It was a little trippy. Like I felt like, oh snap, like this is real. I like it made me feel like now I have to move forward with this idea. Like I have to. It's not just something in my head anymore. Like it's not just little cute pictures in my head that I can just like think about and it makes me happy. This is actually like a concept that I put my money, my effort, and my time in, and now what? Like I'm not going to just let it sit in my room, or like I'm not just going to leave it on my computer and just like never let it see the light of day. So I felt like it, as I got more and more pages, it just built like more and more of like a hunger for me to like put it out there and like get it out there more, because it's like, okay, this is real. All right, let me put now my extra work on it to figure out how to make it big.
Okay. When you finally, or let me ask you this. So you're looking for artists and you're learning a lot about making comics and the processes of making comics. What was it that made you settle on the artist that did ultimately design your book and the look of the characters and everything? What was it about their body of work that spoke to you?
I liked their drawing style, and I have this thing, because I don't know the word, I don't know the terminology specifically, but I feel like Black artists, there's a certain way that we draw. Like the facial features that you like, that they pay attention to, it's specific and it looks like Black people. Like I feel like, and again, no shade to any other race or any other like kind of people, but like when I see other artists of other nationalities drawing, like it doesn't make me feel like I'm looking at a Black person. Like I like artists that I feel like we we draw a certain way, or like our body language, or how we connect with art is specific. So a
Mm,
lot of the times I look for people of color, or people of us, like not just Black people, but people of color. I look at their art styles. That's where I start, number one. And then I look at how does the artwork flow within the scene? Are they kind of like stiff? Like does everything look like it's like the background looks weird, and then it's a weird background with a weird character, and then the weird bubble, like I like to see artists that have like they tell a story too. Like within my story, I want you to show your story. Like I want you to show how like people are when they're excited. I want you to like, I like people that convey emotion, because like if you think about it, a comic book, like it's literally a bunch of single boxes that has to tell a whole story. And
right.
each box has to be like you got to hit them with that, like what am I looking at? That's what it is. What am I looking at? Why am I looking at this? And I feel like the artist that I chose, I was able to see that within the like, because dealing with artists, they give you sometimes, like they'll give you like a free page of like what your concept looks with their, like your ideas, their art, put it together, this is what it looks like. But then once I started working with her, and then we were actually doing the comics, and like with each panel, it's like I see it, like I see why this person would act this way in this panel, because X, Y, and Z happenings. Like, and then how they have colors and their different shading, and the color concepts that they use and different things like that. I feel like it's a complete package. So I just yeah, all
No,
that.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I'm digging it. Trust me, I'm digging it. Everything you're saying is like gold to my ears right now. Um, let me ask you this: what is your favorite part of the creation process of your story? What has been your favorite part of being on this comic book creation journey?
Besides creating the script, storyboarding. I love storyboarding. Like, honestly, I feel like storyboarding is the comic book.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
a version of a comic book. I just like I use this app. It was called Storyboard That, and it's just like little stick figures that they make look nicer. And it kind of like, I would put the stick figure in a yellow shirt to indicate to the artist this is the main character because of the yellow shirt. And like each panel, I would like try to give her an idea, because what I did was I gave her the script, and I gave her the storyboard, and I was like, just recreate this in your vision. Like make it look like this as much as you can. And but putting together the storyboard, I felt like I was putting the comic book together in a sense, because like I was also able to like see, okay, if you're in this situation, what would they look like? What would they be doing? I don't like boring, or I try not to make things look boring. So it's like how much excitement, how much can I put into this one little box that'll make readers want to look at the next box? And what about the next box is going to make somebody else want to look at the next, and then the next? And I'm even learning how to make the whole page flow like a story within itself. Like I've grown to love storyboarding because it makes me feel like I have even more of a hand in creating the comic book, the visual part. Like I can't draw, but we gonna make something shake. I could get the storyboard down.
Okay, I think you're the first writer to say that specifically their favorite part of the creation process. So that's really interesting. So let me ask you this, and when I kind of it's a similar question that I already asked when I asked it in a different way. So you have physical copies of your book, you have your digital book. Are you starting to go to different conventions and starting to promote your book and meet fans and sell and things like that? Are you having fun doing that, or is that kind of like the businessy part of the whole being a nerd thing?
So so besides like comic book conventions, I am in like HBCU spaces, so HBCU events, and I go to like a lot of Black culture events, just kind of for us by us type of stuff. I like it. I do love it. I like meeting people. It's just me, my personality. I'm really quiet. I'm reserved in a sense. Like I like my space. I like observing people. I like being in spaces, but I don't necessarily have to be the talker. But because this is my concept, I do have to be the talker. Like I
Right.
do have to be in the forefront. So I would say it'll be times where like I can feel like my energy depleting because like it's already only on 50% as it is because I'm naturally just at 50. So it's just like you're already working with a half a deck as it is. But I still try to be lively and be happy because I am happy to meet people and I'm happy that people love my concept. Like the amount of feedback or the amount of positive feedback that I've gotten, it's like words can't describe like how appreciative I am that I come in contact with everybody, even you, just people that I come in contact with and that are so supportive. Like it it helps me, push further. And it's not that I don't love these. It's just me naturally. It's just it kind of goes against who I am naturally, but I don't see it as a problem. I see it as like a way to like maybe even get out my shell or talk more or have more things like when I reflect back into my life and stuff like that, I can say, "Oh, I met this person, or I did this, or I did that," and it be more rewarding and stuff like that. So
Mm.
it's you know it's
No,
cool.
I get that. I get that. We're all like, most nerds are kind of like introverted and
Mm,
standoffish to themselves.
big introvert,
Yeah.
me.
So I get that. But like just sitting here talking to you, I can't tell.
Thank
Like
you. I
we
appreciate
just
that.
been talking and just hanging out and having fun.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I'm good with small rooms, small circles, small.
Gotcha. What was it like making that first sale? Like I'm not even sure if you remember that first sale you made off of your comic, but once you
Mm,
started actually making money off of this idea that you already spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on, what was that experience like for you?
it was really cool. So I'm really into numbers. I love numbers. And when I was I didn't have a kickstart, but just for the sake of understanding what I was doing, when I was in my kickstart portion, one of my friends or a guy I work with, shout out to Sadak. His last name is Sadak. We call him Sadak, and he's really into comic books. And I told him about it, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'm about to start a comic book." And I showed him my website, and my website had like I had literally just finished making it. It was brand new, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you got a comic book? Let me see what it is." And then he looked at it, and he just placed an order on my website. And then when I saw it, it came at he bought he was the first person to buy my comic book, and he bought it at 5:55 p.m. And he doesn't know that. He didn't do it on purpose, but I I love that he did that. And then 5 is, for me, it's the number of money, like abundance. You get, so, and it's three fives. So it just made me, in that moment, I remember feeling like, yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this. I think this is me. This what's up. I got, I like that for me. So I my first, I always remember my first purchase, because it, in little ways, it made me feel like I'm doing something right.
That's dope. And I'm assuming like he's bought every issue, and every time you go to work, all he do is talk about your book.
No, he's quiet. He's so quiet. He's so different. I love Sadak. He's like he's so soft spoken. He's chill. He makes really good cookies. That's what I know about him. Sadak is quiet and he just make cookies. And he's like really into like the nerd scene. Like he has the Dungeons and Dragons game. He's always bringing different board games to work so we can play them and stuff like that. Like he's really into role playing. So for him to be like interested in my work and stuff like that, I was like, okay, that's cool. Like I like people that are already in, like they're deep in it, and like they find an interest in me, and I just came around like, hey, I can do that. I like that.
Gotcha. Now, I do want to ask you this. I know you got to go soon, so
I gotta pick up my daughter.
oh yeah, yeah, okay. So you are traditionally entering what is normally, or what has historically been, a male, cisgendered, white dominated industry in the comic book industry. Now that you are an indie creator, and the indie scene has exploded over the last 10 years and is as big and popping as ever, what has your experience been being a Black woman in a traditionally cis white male dominated industry? Have a lot of people looked at you and like, you create a comic book, or is it like nothing but love and aspiration and admiration from the community?
Luckily, I have received nothing but love so far. I will say that a lot of my connects have been within like the Black community. So I don't necessarily have a time where I felt like I had to really um interact with the other side of comic books. Mainly because the start that I've gotten, people look like me. Because of that, I feel like I've gotten a lot of support. So I don't know. I'm praying that, if when the time do come and I have to be in those type of rooms and stuff like that, I still receive the amount of support. Um, but no, I sorry to those people that do have to go through that, but no, that
Right.
hasn't been my story.
Okay. Have you met a lot of other Black women comic creators, whether they're a writer or an illustrator, in your journey?
Comic creators, no, but I have met a lot of people that are interested in comics, or I've the people that I have met recently are like people that do children's books.
Okay.
So that's the closest that I've met, women that do children's books.
Do you believe we need more Black women and their point of views and stories in comics?
I do. I feel like we should get more women lead roles and stuff like that. Media in general has been, or media books, a lot of them have been male role, like male main characters from the male's perspective and stuff like that. It would be good to see a lot more stuff from a woman's perspective, or a woman's main character. Like, aren't y'all tired of the same stories over and over? Like, so, get a woman in there. Maybe we'll have a different perspective. It could even be the same story, just a different perspective. Like, you never know.
Right.
People talk about love. We talk about social injustice. We talk about the same topics over and over again. But wouldn't it be cool to have a Black woman talk about these same issues? Like, you don't know her lifestyle. Like, we we need versatility, I would say. So of course, and two, that'll keep me employed. That'll keep me keep me in the loop. Of course, I want me people that look like me and me, and yeah, we need us all of us.
Gotcha. Before we go, I'm gonna give you a soapbox to stand on. You have any issues or concerns that are close to your heart that you want to address, or anything you want my audience to particularly know about you, anything you want to promote, anything you want to talk about? The floor is yours.
All right. So I will say, go get a copy of Haymer University. It is available on my website. That's 9acrevibes.com, NineAcresBibes.com. No, there's no S after acre. So 9acrevibes.com. I have the first issue out of Haymer University. This is the first of 8. I'm trying to get my followers behind me so I can get the second issue out. It's in works right now, but I'm trying to get more funding so I can get it out. And I would say my parting words, of course, know yourself so other people ain't telling you who you are. Figure that out. And just stay tuned, keep watching, keep following, like, comment, subscribe. And like, comment, subscribe on my platform, and then also this platform as well. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe Blerdography, and watch for more Blerdkast episodes.
That's dope. I love when my guests kill multiple birds at one stone. You did a soapbox, you promoted yourself, and I have to ask you to tell everybody your social media. You did all of that in one go. I love that. That's so dope. That's so dope. I got one last question.
Gotcha.
This is just between me and you. The internet ain't listening. Okay, where is Sade's scholarship at?
Girl. Okay, well, I'm about to say girl. I don't know. You gotta ask the financial aid department. They're the ones that messed it up. They messed it up.
I'm not gonna lie. That whole financial aid scene,
that is actually real.
Yeah, I did that to me. Getting mad, like, where her money at? Where her money at? I'm just like, I've been there. That was so real for me. FAFSA is no joke.
They be playing with you like it's a game, and it's not. No, but that part kind of happened for me because I got that story from my mother. Because I was telling her about, in the beginning, I was telling her about what I wanted to do with the comic book, and I was telling her about financial aid. She was like, you should put this in your book. And then she explained to me, because like the story, she had her mother there. That part, I had my mother. I didn't know nothing about nothing. You talk to her when you need to talk to her, but talk to her when financial, that's her thing. So she said that something had happened with my scholarship, and they took the money. How did it go? They took the money. They claimed that it was more than they needed, so they sent the extra stuff back. But then I guess they recalculated, and I owed money. And then my mother was just like, "She don't owe nothing. She has a scholarship. Where, like, who gonna sit here and help me figure this out? Because I'm not paying my mother. My mother is a trip. I'm surprised if she didn't. She possibly got my scholarship and got me some more money on top of that, knowing her.
I swear to God, that same story happened to me twice. Swear to God.
Sorry that everybody's calling me because I got to pick up my daughter.
Oh yeah. We're finna go. Thank you for coming on. Please check out Haymer University. All the links will be in the description. This has been Blerdkast. You know where to find me. YouTube, Apple, Google, all the stuff. We got to go. Later.